Hey everyone, going to use the Maclaurin series table to obtain the Maclaurin series for our f of x. This kind of is labeled wrong because for the Maclaurin series we would use this, but we also have to use the binomial series as well. So let's go ahead and get started with that and rewrite this so we can use the binomial series. And we're going to factor out an x squared. So we have x squared times 1 divided by, and let's factor out a 2. So it's going to be 2 times 1 plus x divided by 2. Now that's going to equal x squared divided by square root of 2. And then since it's a square root, I'm going to write 1 plus x divided by 2 to the power of negative 1/2. All right, so using this formula here, this is going to equal x squared divided by square root of 2 times the sum from n equals 0 to infinity. Your k is negative 1/2. Then you have n, and then we have x divided by 2 to the power of n. All right, and that's for this part right here. All right, now that we have that, let's go ahead and expand it. So this is going to equal, I'm going to try to write small here because I always run out of room, x squared divided by square root of 2. And then for this, we're doing the sum, this part right here. And that's going to be 1 plus negative 1/2 times x divided by 2. That's this k times x. So this was your, when n is 0. This is when n is 1. The next would have negative 1/2 times negative 3/2 and divided by 2 factorial. We're just taking negative 1/2 minus 1. All right, and then we still have x divided by 2 squared plus, I'm trying to squeeze this in, negative 1/2. Then subtract 1, you get negative 3/2. Subtract 1 again, you get negative 5/2. And that's going to be divided by 3 factorial. And then we have x divided by 2 cubed plus dot, dot, dot. All right. And this was our second term here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this here. And we're going to get x squared divided by square root of 2 plus, and now we're going to start here. So we're going to write x squared divided by square root of 2, and we're starting at 1 now to infinity. So I'm doing everything that's the same. It's just that I'm pulling this out, this first term out, and starting at 1 because it helps me find the pattern. All right, now that I've done that, let's look and see what we have. We know we have these negatives going on here, so we're going to write negative 1 to the nth power. And then for our numerator, we have 1, 3, 5. So this is going to be 1 times 3. This one is times 5 times dot, dot, dot times 2n minus 1. That's your odd powers. And in the denominator, we have these factorials. So that's n factorial. And then we also have this 2. And this is going to be 2 to the power of 2n. So it's really 2 usually to the power of n, but since we have this square, so this is going to be to the power of 2n. All right, and this is times x to the power of n. So basically you have this 2 to the power of n, but ours was squared. So that gives you that. So this is what we have so far. And now I can rewrite this by multiplying through everything by this. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to multiply everything through by x squared. When I do that, this is going to turn out to be x to the n plus 2. And then also multiply through by square root of 2. So let's do that. We're going to get x squared divided by square root of 2. And now I'm multiplying through. So we're still starting at n equals 1 to infinity. We still have negative 1 to the nth power. We have 1 times 3 times 5 times dot 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 times 2n minus 1. And then we already talked about this x to the power of n plus 2. Because x to the n times x squared. So you just add those two. Now, denominator we saw n factorial. We also had before, we had 2 to the power of 2n. And we're multiplying it by 2 to the power of 1/2. So this is just going to be times 2 to the power of 2n plus 1/2. All right, so there's your final form. And now all we have to do is find the radius of convergence. So before we had, let's see, let me see if I can find a better one. We had x squared divided by square root of 2 times 1 plus x divided by 2 to the power of negative 1/2. So you're looking at this x, take the absolute value of x divided by 2, and that must be less than 1 for it to be convergence. So that means the absolute value of x is less than 2 when you cross multiply. So your radius of convergence is 2. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.